Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Nitagora Haribo, 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 Nitagora Haribo. Gaura Premanande. Lights? Yeah. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhaktivedanta Manor. I hope you had a nice day at work. It's the weekend. Let's celebrate the commencing of the weekend with a nice verse from the Bhagavad Gita. If you guys wish, you can turn this way and face me if you want to engage in the class. Come on. Okay. There's no pressure. You don't have to. So today we're going to speak on a verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4. Do you know what is the title of this particular chapter? Let's start with a little test. Okay. So this chapter is called Transcendental Knowledge. So Sri Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, and he spills the beans about what's the reality of the transcendence. Because it is very important, apparently, for us to know about this in order to navigate our actions. And the verse that we're going to speak about today actually is about action. I'm sure we're in our daily life, we're performing various types of action, whether it's cooking, chopping vegetables, or you're at work, you're talking with a colleague, or you're trying to deal with your children. At each moment, every day, science is saying that we are making over, what's the statistics? Over thousands of decisions in a day. Our brains are just trained already to pass by many of the occasions automatically. We don't consciously make decisions. They're out of habit a lot of the times. However, as a transcendentalist, you gain the power of assessing your decisions, assessing your life choices, and trying to make a better orientation. So we're going to begin the class by reciting the verse, very beautiful Sanskrit. You guys probably know better than I do because you speak probably, Hindi or Gujarati, whatever language it is. It's much closer to Sanskrit than my original language. Hopefully I will speak something of value, if at all, that is pleasing to Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara. So without further ado, let's pay our obeisances towards the verse, towards the scriptures. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Right. Okay. So this verse is 417. If you have on your phone and you would like to also look at the verse when we recite it, you're welcome to. Should I give you a second? 417. Yeah. Okay, please repeat after me. Karmano hi api podhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmana cha bodhavyam gahana karmana gati karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmana arkamanashcha bodhavyam Gahana karmano gati karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmana akamanashcha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmana akamanashcha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Please repeat after me. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Purport. If one is serious about liberation from material bondage, one has to understand the distinctions between action, inaction, and unauthorized actions. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, and perverted actions because it is a very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one has to learn one's relationship with the Supreme. In example, one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is an eternal servitor of the Lord, and that consequently, one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed towards this conclusion. Any other conclusions against this consciousness and its attendant actions are vikarmas, or prohibited actions. To understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, even the most intelligent persons will be bewildered. Okay, now let's recite a series of prayers to offer obeisances to the spiritual masters. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitanscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Mostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai. Okay. So, the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. As we began the class, we're looking at ourselves and thinking, okay, what am I doing? What have I done today to help myself to come closer to Krishna? Because each one of you have come to the temple, or you, hello, who are tuning in online. We all want to understand Krishna. Or we have some desires that are unfulfilled. And in our life, if our desires are unfulfilled, we feel very uncomfortable. We're sitting there, but we're not here. And we're kind of anxious. We kind of want to just get up and do something, but what do we do? Like, what's going to help? The approach that Krishna here is suggesting in this verse is that before we do anything at all, actually, we should understand first what is the nature of our action? What is the consequence? If we're about to commence on a serious venture within our life, making a big decision, or even a tiny decision during our day, it could have a serious impact in our life. And moreover, if that action that we have conducted is inviting some form of reaction, either from the external world, within the moment straight away, or at a later point, through the law of karma, it comes back to us. What goes around comes around. Whatever we do end up being done to us. Then we must assess in the moment that we are doing things whether this is the right thing to do. However, Krishna is saying the intricacies of actions are very hard to understand. So it's not that easy, in fact, in the moment to see very clearly what is right and what is wrong, what we should and should not do. We go to our friends, we go to our family, we seek advice before we try to make that financial decision, or, which school to send our kids to, all these things. It has a serious impact, isn't it? So it is a matter of concern. It is a matter of immense source of anxiety, but it also has huge hope and potential. So we must invest our time into thinking about it. And the Bhagavad Gita, of course, you all know, probably much better than I do, is a book of life. So through the course of this conversation, Arjuna learns about what is the significance of his own purpose, and within that trajectory of a huge arc of this conversation, we encounter in this particular point, what is the attitude that we should carry when it comes to making decisions and performing actions. In fact, not only is it important that we assess what we should do, but the attitude that we approach our decisions is in fact what is determining the greater scope of impact. So let's do away with some of the basics. In this verse, we encounter three terms which are crucial to the understanding of action. So those are karma, vikarma and akarma. For the sake of, not repeating what you already know, we'll give a quick rundown. So karma is that action which coaxes a reaction. So whatever it is that we may perform for our own benefit, we must know this in general has a certain impact on our environment and on ourselves. So most actions that we perform for, benefits of material life, various aspects, it has to do with that. So vikarma is actions that is against the injunctions of Krishna, of the divine. So what's against the scripture could be said, it will actually result pretty badly. We will suffer from that. And akarma is that action which is performed but doesn't accrue any result, anything that feeds back to you. And one may think, oh, so if it doesn't feed back to me, then what's the point? If I do something right now, if I donate to the temple, if I, let's not use the temple as an example. If I help a grandma cross the road, I'm doing something good. So I want that in the future someone is going to help me to cross the road or something such and such. We want good to come back to us. Why is that wrong? There's nothing wrong with that. But also, so if I do something and nothing comes back to us, it seems like we're almost at a loss if we've invested our energy and then nothing comes back, such as the karma, as it seems. But in the realm of spiritual life, we cannot think in terms of material give and take. So if we invest some money in the bank and tomorrow we get some interest, that is the law of this material world. One day, the economy could be going well right now, and you have loads of interest accrued in your bank. So you are going to have a nice retired life. But what if you lived in a time, in a space out of your control, in a country, in a space, in a place that economy suddenly becomes unstable, and the bank just collapses, and all your money just goes, and you can't exert any control over that. Very unfortunate. Cross your fingers. Nothing like that happens to anyone here. But as you can see, all these things. The example is trying to illustrate the fact that, in fact, our material life is constantly changing. It is always in flux. It never stays there. So even if you do something good today, you don't know when it's going to come back to you. When is it going to come back the time that you need it? And after all, is it going to still be of value a long time down the road? So we don't think like this. We just, because of our desire to accrue things, to protect our life, we're very much interested in accumulating such interests. However, in the realm of the spiritual, which is beyond like we said, the material give and take, what we invest is not immediately seen by our eyes. It is not perceived in accountable terms. You could say that's a delayed gratification, but in fact, the spiritual experience is very valuable for those who are looking to understand what is life actually all about, right? But let's just say, if you dedicate all of your actions today, nothing I'm doing is going to be for me. I just do it for Krishna. What do you think is going to happen? Should we get a few answers from the audience? What's going to happen if your mind didn't think at all today, oh, I would like to eat this very nice like paneer sabji. Let me just go somewhere to get it. Like I'm gonna drive 20 minutes down to the, Govinda's restaurant or Radharani's kitchen and get that sabji. I'm not thinking what I would like. I'm just thinking, oh, what would Krishna like? And I would like to do everything today just for Krishna. What do you think is gonna happen? Okay, Matsuji says you'd be able to detach yourself from material acquisitions. Very nice answer. Anyone else? And Krishna will help you to become humble. Nice. So, and even closer to Krishna. Right. Very nice. Anyone else? Someone who's probably you have some answer maybe? Okay, you lose friend. Well, let's not focus on that type of things. Well, but I want to hear from someone else. I love your answers. Well, let's get a few ones. Yes, Prabhu. Expect less expectations. Very nice. Less expectations. So less expectations. You lessen your expectations. Yes, Prabhu. We become not distracted by the material things. What about you, Matsuji? Right. Yeah. So your inner self becomes more conscious of your surroundings, of every single detail. So you become more aware of what you're doing. Self-awareness. Very nice. And you, Prabhu? You just joined. Welcome to the class. We're talking about Bhagavad Gita. Verse disconnect. Disconnect one's needs, wants and needs from our wants and needs. And what's the benefit of that? To disconnect from our wants and needs. Right. Nice. To become minimalistic and humble. Very well said. Yes. Right. So you feel less anxious and feel no fear. That sounds like something I'd like to be like. Okay. Anybody else? Any last takers? The question. Happy. Okay. Very wonderful. So suppose if tomorrow you woke up in the morning and you decided to experiment and say, "Oh, Krishna, I don't know if this is actually going to happen just like what everybody has said, And let me just try and do everything just for you." Think of Krishna like as your, and as an analogy, as your child. And you just do everything for him. Like what's going to happen? Well, the Vaishnava Acharyas is saying that if we do everything in consciousness of Krishna, which means in Krishna consciousness, then basically all of your life's karma is going to poof. It's just going to disappear. Like it doesn't matter anymore. And at the end of life, you're going to gain that eternal blissful abode of Krishna if you not only do it one day, but every day of your life. So the interest that you accrue, back to the material analogy, but in the spiritual terms, is that you will gain immense bliss and ultimate satisfaction. And this satisfaction is experienced even when you're doing this action. So even when you're in the midst of a busy day, Shri Shradha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshma Hanuman ki, Gauranitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. And, are we close to the time? Oh, no, we still have half an hour. Great. So, spiritual credit, if you would, as we perform karma. Actions that do not have an immediate, perhaps material reaction, and that is done not for ourselves, but for Krishna, is going to give us that qualification to experience immense bliss. And why is that? The reason lies in just the eternal nature of Krishna's personality. Now, this is a rather deep subject matter. I'm not going to go very much into it, but I'd like to touch on it a little bit. We are in a world right now that pretty much assume that everything is rather bleak, because by material evidence we see a lot of suffering going on. And many people become disillusioned and say that, oh, if there is so much suffering, then I don't want to believe in a God that creates so much suffering. So if I do something for God, what is he gonna give me? You know, what am I gonna get? It just seems as if he's not listening. You know, this type of disillusionment, which I'm supposing probably you don't experience, because, well, as you know, people who were born in the Bharatvarsha, in the land of India, piety is an important part of life. I'm coming from a background where it's predominantly atheistic, and young people who are disillusioned, you know, in universities nowadays. So that's a very different environment, where God consciousness is not at the center of people's lives. So I find it important that actually to reaffirm this point, that in fact our relationship with God is important, because that's the key to happiness. And happiness is essential. If without happiness or peace, how can you find any meaning in the actions that we're doing? So this analysis essentially comes back to the transformation of ourselves. Like many of us have mentioned, dedicating our life towards God make us more conscientious, make us more peaceful, happy, humble, and it makes us detached. It doesn't matter. Okay, so what if I experience some small impediment that I'm temporarily set back? I can just carry on doing things, because your energy is up here. So that is very good. And now I'd like to discuss the practical. So how do we get there? As bhakti yogis, or in this temple that Srila Prabhupada has established for us, this house that the entire world is living under, ISKCON, you know, we practice pure devotional service. Not that all of us are practicing already pure devotional service, but that is the aim and the goal. That we have no selfish desires. That you're purely just serving the Lord and trying to make Him happy. This chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, in fact hits directly on this subject matter. It just tells you, like, how do you build up your diligence and your desire to actually serve the Lord. Because let's be honest, it's not that obvious how devotional service is able to transform our lives. And if we don't have the understanding or knowledge, then we can't really progress much. In this verse, it is hinted that one should properly know what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, to understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. So Arjuna is learning from Lord Krishna about the science of self-realization, and about how to perform his own duties. And here we are reading the Bhagavad Gita, from an authority like Srila Prabhupada. It's an immense privilege, because it is said in the scripture that actually only once in a very long time does one come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master that can truly understand Krishna. Because Krishna doesn't reveal himself that often in a longer, context of things. So one should approach an authority and humbly ask, seek, and inquire, and then serve as well this authority. And that requires humbleness. So this intention that we may carry for coming to Krishna in a temple, if it really bears fruit, it will turn into a desire to actually not just to add onto some small aspects of our life, but to in fact transform the whole context of why we're doing anything that we're doing. And this requires knowledge. This requires some patience and cultivation from, reading and hearing the discourse of the Bhagavad Gita from devotees who have understood the Shastra. And most importantly, in fact, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This mantra is immensely powerful, which clears the dust that's been accumulating over many, many lifetimes. So it can help us to achieve this attitude of humbleness, inquisitiveness, and a mood of service. Because let's be honest, we all come here for some reason, right? We must get that as quick as we can, if you would. Like, why do we wait for, 10, 20 years? Just get it now, And this Hare Krishna mantra is promised, actually, to deliver you in a second. Like, if you just chant it once, you are elevated to a platform of transcendental, so that your karma can be discounted. But if you are continually chanting it incessantly, like every day, you promise to chant it, then the Lord would be like, oh, this one is serious. Let me help them. Let me take them to me just by myself. I'll help them a little bit. Because it's a mire out here. It's a crazy world out there, Any moment can be swallowed by anxiety, by Maya, basically. So what is going to be that shelter that we take? Our own mind is fickle. Even if you learn philosophy, you try to churn it all day by day, and something comes up, and you're super disturbed. You just have this natural reaction that you have, right? It's through life. We have, learned many reactions. It happens automatically. And by this reaction, we may commit some form of offense, or we may perform a vikarma, like that's going to come back to us. So what's going to happen? And that's why, our Acharyas is saying, just chant the holy name, and you'll be fine. Because, yes, this action-reaction is happening. The Lord knows that. It's His law. He designed it. But He's saying, but if you just approach me purely and sincerely, if you chant my name, if you call out to me, I hear it. I will listen. And if you're sincere, I will help you. So all of those actions, reactions, they will be nullified. So they don't matter. So this is what happens to a devotee of Lord Krishna. He personally takes care. And He helps them. So this relationship increase by our chanting, by our familiarizing with what he actually wants, because once our contamination or consciousness have been cleansed, we need to now learn, what is the right way of doing things. Because it doesn't help if we eternally remain ignorant, if we remain sort of innocent, if we're making innocent mistakes by not knowing, by not having read the scripture, and we do something that is against the scripture. The Lord is not pleased. He's not happy to see us doing such things because it makes you suffer. But he's not going to take it into great account. But he would become quite frustrated and sad if you had the opportunity to learn about it, but you don't. Not that he's frustrated, he's eternally blissful. But I'm just using the human analogy to help us understand. You see, what I mean by that is that we must take up a process that is recommended for us to be the best for us. And despite that we don't understand, why? Why is this the way that it works? I'm not going to do it. Instead of taking on this attitude, we can simply say, okay, let me try it. These people seem to be, high functioning. Like they just perform everything so nicely, so perfectly, and their presence is so, it bestows all mercy, and you just feel very nice. Maybe what they have to say is of some value. And by the application, by this little bit of faith, this investment, this constant investment of action, we can actually transcend our own ignorance. Just like I think, I don't remember the name of this character, but it's a story from, I think it's told, I actually don't remember where I read this. Oh my God. But it's this simple Brahmana boy who learned this mantra, and he doesn't actually know what is doing, and he just simply chants it. And then somehow or other, he attains this ecstatic and blissful state of love of Krishna. Oh, right, this is actually the story of a thief. So there's one thief in a village near, I think, the land of Raj. So he was a bandit. So, he steals people's belongings. And one day, he steals this, the cloth or, some possessions from a Brahmin. And this Brahmin says to him, "Oh, you're so, my young boy, you're so good at, doing what you're doing. You can take anyone's possessions. You see, I have actually nothing. It's no point robbing me. You're not going to gain much. But if you go to this place called Mathura, and you find this person called Gopal, and you try to steal from him, he's got loads of stuff that you can take. He's very rich." So, this thief thinks, right, very rich, huh? Okay, and he heads over through many different villages, and at each village, he's just asking the villagers, "Where's Gopal? Where's Gopal? How can I find this? How can I find him?" And by the time he reaches Mathura, he sees Krishna. He's just running down the street and asking, "So where's the house of Gopal? Where's Gopal?" And everybody is just saying, "Oh, Gopal, Hare Krishna, he's over there." He points him to this temple. And he goes there. He doesn't quite understand, what's going on. He's just thinking, how can I, take something from this very beautiful house of this person called Gopal. But because he's so intensely focused on Gopal, constantly, he develops an attachment, a soft place in his heart for Gopal. And one day he's just searched for so long and he hasn't found this so-called house that he's looking for. He's just got frustrated and he sat on this hill called Govardhan. He just happens to sit there, and he's just tearing up. He's like, "Where is Gopal? Like I can't find you." And then a young boy comes and gives him a cup of milk, and he says, "Here, here's a cup of milk. You must be hungry. I see you've been, walking and working very hard. Why don't you take this? Maybe you want some bread? I can bring you some." He says, he sees this beautiful boy. He says, "Wow." And he just can't take his eyes off him. He was just so attracted to this little boy. He says, "No, I don't need any bread. I was looking for Gopal's house, but I couldn't find him. So now I'm lost." And this boy says, "That's okay, no worries. If you just wait here, tomorrow I'll bring you another cup of milk, and I'll help you to find him." And this bandit person, he says, "Okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah, please come back." So this bandit, he just sits there and he sleeps. And the next morning, this young boy comes again with another bigger jug of milk. He says, here's the milk." And this bandit had been overnight just thinking about this boy. He just couldn't stop thinking about him. And he was just longing to see him. So when he finally saw him, he embraced the boy. He says, "Oh my goodness, very strangely, it just seems somehow or other, I'm so happy and satisfied. I don't feel like I need to find this house anymore." But this young boy looks at him and says, "Yeah, but I thought you wanted to see Gopal." And he says, "Yeah, I did, but I wanted to take something from him. I don't think I want those things anymore." And this boy is kind of happy, kind of coy, sort of, looks at him and says, And then, this boy, I think, just disappears, all in a sudden, just poof, he's just gone. And this thief comes back to he's like looking everywhere. It's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And he starts to cry because his boy has just suddenly disappeared, as if he's lost his own life. Like he was very sad. And then the boy, seeing him pitifully crying, appears again. He says, "Actually, I'm the Gopal that you're looking for. And my name is Krishna. And this is my village. And I'm glad you came to find me." And this thief, cleared up his tears. And he, lived in Vraj always happy in the association of his dear Gopal. Yeah, so that's what happiness looks like. So even if come back to the verse, even if our actions are impious like this thief, if our intention is right, we're looking for Krishna, or Krishna, Krishna, where are you? Then he rectifies your fault, because Krishna actually doesn't see your faults. He just sees your sincerity. If you even have a little inkling of sincerity to find him, he just disregards anything and everything that you've ever done that's bad. He just doesn't care, Unless, of course, you consciously, knowingly, harm another devotee. He's quite serious. But the gist is that if we are really looking for Krishna, then he comes towards us and we'll be very happy by the result of it. And this is actually what akarma means. Krishna very cleverly in this Bhagavad Gita, he very cleverly establishes this, progressively establishes this argument, not argument, or presentation of the truth to help each and every person understand from a basic level. But when it really comes down to us trying to understand, there are practical ways whereby we can make progress. Just by coming to our temple and chanting Hare Krishna. But actually the real core of it is this unadulterated focus on finding Krishna. So just as the curtains are about to begin in 5 minutes, open in 5 minutes, let's just meditate on Gopal, on Krishna, and really try to cry out to Krishna, Krishna, I just want you. I just want to find you. Like, where are you? And as you sing this arti, glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please remember his intense desire to find Sri Krishna and become inspired. Sri Lord Krishna Chaitanya. And let that love seep into your heart and inspire you every day, constantly. Wherever you are, whether you're at work or you're at home, just think about, where are you, Gopal? I want to find you and I want to serve you. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. Please come to our temple every single day. And eat prasadam with us. Hare Krishna. Okay. Let's chant the Maha Mantra together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Right, there's 4 minutes. Like, I guess we can slowly stand up and, as per custom, men on this side and ladies on this side. And we can wait for the curtains to open. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
એ બેટા તારું નથી તને ખબર अभी क्या है क्यों वो कौन बजाएगा मेरे बाप आपको बजाना है ये इजी है नहीं बजाने के लिए ये खाली ठीक है Oh, Alicia. Nanti kayak bayi mo bisa bro. Masuk besok gitu ya. Besok mana? Ini betul sama tahu. Ini betul kalau husband saya. He wasn't here. He mother मेरा फोन काम हो गया then I'm fine. Yeah, 1 minute. मेरी बच्ची का Whenever you're finished, you can just put it here. And whenever you're finished on top, yeah? Okay, thank you.
श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की, श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय जय गौराचंदे आरती को शोभा Ragnar Simha